call the meeting to order. And the roll call, we have Alder Campbell here.
Here.
Alder Weary.
Here.
And Alder Stoyer is excused. So, and I myself am here as well, Alder Eck. Okay, so approval of the agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, and no, everybody, wait, how do we
All in
say?
favor, say aye.
All in favor. I don't know why I lost my train of thought. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And nays, nobody. I think we're all good, so that passes. Approval of the minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, everybody in approval, say aye.
Aye.
And that passes, so we will move on to regular business. Consideration with possible action regarding repair of Department of Public Works dump truck.
Okay, included in your packet, we have a quotation for Truck Equipment Incorporated. Unit number 10, one of our frontline dump trucks that's also used for plowing. We have a failure in the frame rails of the truck, which is a pretty substantial issue. So we did go out to Truck Equipment to get a quote on that. They're going to replace the frame rail, sandblast, prime, and paint the rails, and then replace the box hinge assembly that was damaged. Total cost is $28,936. It's obviously cheaper than the cost of a new dump truck, so the rest of the truck is in good enough shape that we do think investing this much money in repairs rather than replace it this time would be a good use of city funds. But it is more than $25,000, so we do need council approval for that.
Okay.
Move to approve. Just pretty sure we need to know.
Oh, we have a question
I
here.
just got a question. So it says replace frame rails. How come they got to sandblast and paint them, prime and paint them? I used to
Rails?
work in a truck shop. Just wondering why, just because after the assembly they're going to paint them all then? Paint it all?
Yeah, after they get the frame rails replaced, then they'll blast it, media blast it, paint it for protection.
Just wondering.
Protects it. Okay, so no, any other questions?
They're done then.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. So moving on to 2, consideration with possible action on the 2023 and 2024 proposed vegetation installation, monitoring, and maintenance of the Webster Avenue depressed vegetated boulevards by NES Ecological Services.
Okay.
Hang on.
We figured that Alder Campbell would be in support of this object, but as you know, the vegetation that we originally spec'd out did not come up from the Department of Transportation project, and we've been picking away at the stone a little bit here, trying to come up with some ways to get this done. So we did bring our consultant in, NES. They have come up with a vegetative plan, and a copy of that plan that they've developed has been provided to you in the support documentation. This is going to be a 2-year project. We're only looking to commit to the first year. We need to come back and ask you again next year to finish the project off. So the first year cost expenditure is going to be $40,250, and the stormwater utility will pay for that cost.
You guys have no problem?
I've been having a problem with
If
my,
you hit
this finally
refresh
came up.
sometimes,
But
if you hit refresh sometimes, then it comes up. We're just having trouble bringing stuff up the last
So
2
I-
meetings.
Okay.
So I went by it today, it looks like it's grass. It's
Well, we did
like
go out
there's
and
no
do some-
weeds or nothing in
We
it.
went out and did some preemptive maintenance, so a lot of I forget what, the staff has told me what some of those, the brown things that look
Yeah,
like weeds.
I didn't even hardly see any of them, I mean, I didn't.
Well, I think they've been out hand pulling those,
Yeah.
and then our staff went out, DPW staff went out, and we went around the perimeter, the top 3 feet, to try to get that vegetation down and manageable so that NES can start. We don't want to use any kind of Roundup or anything like that out there because it is a stormwater management device. So everything we're doing is either hand or mechanical.
Yeah.
So we went out there to try to prep those areas before NES comes out and does the seeding.
What is it gonna be? what kind of stuff are they putting?
Well, again, a lot of it is wildflowers and native prairie type vegetation.
Daisies, we might see some daisies. That's neat. Daisies, we might see some daisies.
I'm sure any little kids out there trying to catch butterflies.
Well, that's in the middle of the boulevard. Any other questions?
No, let's hope it goes better than the
Yep.
last one. I'll let you.
Want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, it's passed. Woohoo. Report of the purchasing agent. Are we doing these together?
We should probably take them separate.
Okay, consideration with possible action on the request to award purchase of traffic signal poles and hardware to TAPCO in the amount of $560,133.66, traffic parts in the amount of $53,056.50, general traffic equipment in the amount of $79,589, and Traffic Control Corporation in the amount of $37,545 per the attached summary. Director.
Okay, the traffic signal parts are a combination of items that are needed for replacement as part of our traffic signal repair. So that would be items that are knockdowns, damage due to storms, things of that nature. With the knockdowns, if there's a knockdown, a traffic accident, what have you, we do go back after the vehicle insurance to try to recover those costs, but we need to pay for that stuff up front. And there's also routine small items that need to be replaced on an annualized basis. So if we're doing an entire intersection, that's a capital project, and that would come out of our capital improvement program. But if we're doing a single pole or maybe two poles at an intersection, that becomes maintenance item, if that makes sense to you.
Okay.
So the other part of this is there are 4 intersections, 2 intersections from last year's program and 2 for this year's program, for traffic signal repair. So we're doing updates, upgrades at those intersections, replacing old hardware, getting new hardware in there, things that have intelligence, so we can coordinate the signals and make the corridors work better. So there's a combination of both the maintenance items and capital items in here. So what we do, the electricians and the traffic engineer get together, come up with a parts list of what they need to order. They provide that parts list to the purchasing agent. The purchasing agent quotes that out on VendorNet or Onvia or whatever their vendor software is. So for that, we received bids from 4 different vendors. There is a 3-page summary table that indicates each of the vendors and their costs, and it's highlighted green. So what we do is we pick the individual vendor for the individual line item that makes the most financial sense to the city. So that's where you get your totals for TAPCO, General Traffic Equipment, and Traffic Control Corp. The numbers that we quoted you are the summary of the green highlights.
Okay. Any questions?
None here.
No, I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Any nays? Do I need to say that? I mean,
No.
and it passes. Okay, so item B, consideration with possible action on the request to award purchase of rectangular rapid flashing beacon hardware to TAPCO in the amount of $323,664.33 and Decker Supply in the amount of $17,584.90 per the attached summary.
And similarly to the traffic control, the RRFB, this was the item where the school district is participating with the rapid flashing beacons at pedestrian crossings. So we did, again, have the purchasing agent quote this out. We did receive 8 vendors responding, and again, as indicated on the attached summary table, we picked out the individual line items that were the best financial gain for the city. So the RRFB assemblies themselves, as well as the sign mounting kit and pedestal bases, are all coming from TAPCO. The total amount there is $323,664.33. And then the pedestrian crossing signs and down diagonal arrows signs. So when you look at the RRFB, when you see one assembled, there's the post with the actual beacons, the hardware on top for the solar, the batteries, and then there's a yellow diagonal sign that has a pedestrian in a crosswalk, and another yellow sign that has the arrow pointing down to where the crosswalk is. So those 2 signs are coming from, those 2 signs in different sizes are coming from Decker Supply, and then everything else on the assembly is coming from TAPCO. So staff recommends approval as stipulated, or as broken down in the request.
How many sets? Yeah.
I believe 48, 15, 63.
So,
63 assemblies.
do you have an idea of when these are going to be starting to be installed?
As soon as we get them in.
Okay.
They will be this summer.
And will that be at the same time that you're doing the actual crosswalk where you were describing that, how you're going to
Ideally, yes.
shave off the cement? Okay.
It's going to depend. The RRFBs work best when you couple them with the high-vis crosswalks. The high-vis crosswalks are going to depend on whether or not we get sufficient summer staff to come in and assist with the signs and marking division. Otherwise, signs and markings will get to it as fast as they can, but we're going to get the RRFBs up and have them, even if we don't have the crossing materials down, and we'll supplement with the crossing materials as we can.
Okay. And you had mentioned about the school, this Green Bay Schools, and I remember there being money that we approved for it, but then after the referendum, might be getting some back, or getting like $1 million back. Is that part of this, or is this a separate?
No, that is part of this,
Okay.
and when the school district passed the referendum, the money that the ARPA money that the city originally had attributed to this went back into the ARPA pot, and that was then part of what when they came up with the full ARPA plan,
Okay.
that money was in there, was reallocated out to other projects.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions?
No?
Okay.
Make a motion to pass it, approve it.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sounds
And it
tight.
passed.
Tight.
A tie. Yeah. Make a, you want a board vote? Okay, let's see, so then we are on, 4, consideration, when you're like going back and forth, you gotta get it doesn't go back to where you were, that, did you, I don't know, you probably don't, I don't know.
Yeah,
how
I'm not
yours is.
into it for.
When I go back, it goes back to the top, I don't know. Anyway, consideration with possible action on the review and award of the contract pavement repair 2023 Northeast to Highway Landscapers, Inc. in the amount of $985,320.
About a month and a half ago, we let our annual pavement repair contract, and the pavement repair contract has a couple of different components to it. For any utility contractors, Wisconsin Public Service, Green Bay Water Utilities, who have to excavate within the public right-of-way and they dig pavement up, that puts the permanent pavement restoration back in place, and then we turn around and we bill that contractor back. Similarly, if there is a concrete pavement panel that is damaged, disturbed, cracked, needs to be repaired, we just have one panel in the middle of the street somewhere. We use this contractor to go and do those repairs as well. Similar curb and gutter, sidewalk. There's a couple of sidewalks. Typically we use a sidewalk contract, but if we're already there doing something else. Or we're repairing a utility cut in the street, and it also took out curb and gutter and the sidewalk. Then we'll pick that all up with the same contractor rather than mixing contracts. So we bid that project out, and typically it's an as-needed contract and it's citywide. When the bids came back, they were twice what we were expecting. And we've been hearing some complaints from contractors that the size of that contract and the need, because it's an as-needed contract, we're basically tying a company up for an entire summer, and they can't do work anywhere else. So that was reflected in the bids. So we met as staff and rescoped the project, and we broke it into 3 separate projects. We did a northeast, a southeast, and then a west side based on the number of patches we were anticipating, and bid 3 separate contracts. This is the first of those 3 contracts, and the pricing came back better than the citywide, but still quite a bit higher than what we've had in the past. So staff is recommending award. We did get 2 bidders. Highway Landscapers was the low responsible bidder at $985,320. Staff recommends award of the contract to that bidder, and what we will do is we have a certain amount of money for city-funded pavement repairs. If price per unit is higher, we just do less of them. We won't overspend the money we've got requested for capital. And then utility patches that are somebody else's responsibility, that's a pass-through cost for us, we've already notified those utilities that, hey, the cost came in higher this year, so when you're taking out utility permits, understand your restoration costs are going to go up. So again, those are pass-through costs.
Okay, any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Now we are on to number 6, report the award of contract resurfacing 323, including...
We gotta
Skip
Oh, did
that.
I skip? I am
5.
sorry. I said 5, didn't I? And then I read the 6. Consideration with possible action on the review and award of contract pavement repair 2023 Southeast to Highway Landscapers Inc. in the amount of $1,168,425.
And same discussion that we just had on the last contract, this is just the second of 3 contracts that we led for pavement repair.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No, motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes. Number 6, okay. Report of the award of contract resurfacing 323, including sewer and water, to Peter Concrete Company in the amount of $2,010,233.20.
So this was a contract that we had asked for approval to award at the staff level because of the scheduling and when the bids were being received. We did receive bids. Total of 6 bids were received. Summary of those bids has been included for you in the packet. Peters Concrete Company was the low responsive bidder at a total project cost of $2,010,233.20. So staff does recommend award to Peters, and that total contract cost does include all pavement, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and water repairs that are necessary.
Okay, would this be a receive and place on file because you did award it and we've already
Correct.
pre-approved? Okay, does anybody have any questions?
No.
All right, make a motion.
Make a motion to receive and place on file.
Second?
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 And that passes. So on to number 7, report of actions taken by Department of Public Works. And could we take these all, would we do these all?
I think you can take them all at once.
Okay, one roll call vote. Can I read them all? Everybody's okay with that? Do I have to make a motion to?
No.
Okay. All right, granting of licenses, Sidewalk Builder, Craftsman Concrete LLC, J.C. Santee Construction LLC, Everett's Concrete Construction LLC, Josh Bailey Concrete LLC, Christensen Concrete, Millis Flatwork, E&I Concrete Construction, Fisher Concrete, Surefield LLC, American Custom Concrete, Total Construction, Summers Construction Company Incorporated. And you want to make a motion? Are we approving these?
Make a motion to approve the granting of the license of sidewalk.
And this actually, all you need is a receive and place on file because we've already granted the license.
Okay, report
We're simply
actions,
reporting
okay.
out.
All right,
I'll second it.
okay. So receive and place on file. Everybody's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that passes. So we're on to number 2, tree and brush trimmer, WB Tree Service.
Motion to receive and place file.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that passes. So we are on to informational records report.
Okay, just a couple of things for you very briefly tonight. Wanted to make sure that you were aware, we did start spring waste collection on Monday of this week. That will continue until May 14th. So curbside yard waste collection is going on right now. In speaking with one of the assistant city engineers earlier this week, we did get a revised due date for the fishing. I don't like to call them the floating docks. To me, they're launch rails for Metro Boat Launch.
Okay.
So the replacement launch rails are supposed to be in next week. So we'll be as happy as anybody to see those things here.
Because they don't fish off of them, they're just
Correct.
connected
It's
to their boat. Okay.
to dock your boat while you're taking the trailer and parking it.
So there's 2 in now?
Those are the old ones that I swore I would never put back in the water. And I held true to
I
my
posted
word.
that. Everyone was like pretty happy.
Well, I held true to my word. I swore I would never put those things back in the water. While I was on vacation, the walleye fisherman called and the assistant director made the executive decision to place them in the water, so I did not put them
So
in.
that was this is the sound of James going under the bus crunch.
You swore, but they swore back at you.
You got it.
Like, I thought we were getting new ones.
So how many are going in? 4 new ones?
I think there's 5.
Five new ones.
So there's-
Just-
and you have but you did get in the automatic pay thing, which is a really cool idea.
Yeah, I think they put that in last year.
Oh, really?
That's actually Parks.
Oh.
Park, by and large, Parks runs the facility.
Hmm.
We take care of the docks, putting the docks in and out, but that's about the only thing we got there.
So hopefully after this spring, we won't be talking about docks over there for a while, huh?
Well, not only that, we are working, we've been meeting with the McDonald companies, and we actually applied for a joint grant to look at a combination of things. First of which is some shoreline improvements, shoreline stabilization, habitat restoration that will pick up at Bay Beach. So on the western end of Bay Beach, and it'll take care of that shoreline all the way down to South Bay Marina and protect that shoreline against flooding and wave runoff. So that's a project we're working on. We're pursuing some grant funding from state and federal sources, and if we're successful, I can bring that grant back to you. The other thing we've been talking with the McDonald companies about is coming south from South Bay. So starting at the south limits of South, well, I take that back. Part of the improvements would be to improve the breakwater at South Bay, and then potentially to do something that's a public-private partnership that would involve some reorganization of the South Bay Marina property, the Metro Boat Launch property, and the Green Bay Yacht Club property, and reorient some of that, get some shared services between all of those, and get those launching facilities out of the river so they are protected and they're better utilized and protected from bad weather. So there are some larger plans that we're looking at, but yes, I think at least to hold us over until whether or not we determine those larger plans could go on, having brand new launch facilities out there would definitely be welcomed by staff. Just a heads up reminder that No Mow May is coming up in a couple of weeks here, and we do
Monday.
have people registering for No Mow May and picking their signs up. Because the resiliency office is actually housed within Department of Public Works, Melissa Schmitz, our resiliency coordinator, has applied for inclusion in a voucher program through the Energy Efficiency Community Block Grant Program. So if memory serves me correctly, I think it's about $160,000, give or take, that we could be eligible for. That would be city projects that promote energy efficiency. We could do the project, then you submit for reimbursement, it's a voucher program. So we'll be hearing back on that voucher program. If we're successful, we'll bring the grant forward either through here or through Finance Committee to accept that grant. And that is in support of the carbon neutrality and energy efficiency goals that the council has established for the city. Last thing I wanted to let you know about, just today, I was notified by staff that we have a lift station on Morley Road, which is in Alder Sawyer's district. It's kind of on the border between us and Howard, and then between Military Avenue and Taylor Street. It's a 2-pump station, and one of the pumps died out there. So when staff went out to respond to it, they did some mechanical tests on the second pump and found out the pump is working, but it's not in the greatest shape. So we turned around and immediately issued a PO for 2 replacement pumps from Xylem. The 2 pumps together are $14,263.20, and that will come out of the sanitary sewer cap reserve fund. So we've got the pumps on order. Staff is monitoring there's electronic alarms that go on there. That's how we were notified originally if there was a problem with the pump. So they're keeping an eye on the alarms. They're ready to go if something were to happen with the second pump and be able to bypass pump with some external pumps that we have. So they are keeping an eye on it until we get the new pumps in, but we did order 2 new pumps right away.
Okay. You're completed?
That's it.
Okay.
Nothing.
Motions? Motion.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next, oh, and for all of you out there, this is all going to full council next Tuesday.
What time
We have
is
to say that, right?
Madam Chairman.
At
Chairperson.
6 o'clock in the council chambers
Where's the council chambers?
on the second floor. Do I
Thank
have to
you.
say that whole thing? Okay. All right. Okay, the next Improvement and Services Committee meeting is scheduled for May 10th. And anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Director and